Okay, so this is the excerpt that is part of the end of Unit 1 assessment for 2 roads. The assessment is based on the first part of Chapter 18, which we have not read yet. And it's pretty long, and it has some things in it that might need explanation, so I've decided to record the read aloud so everybody has access to it. And I've got the book right here so you can follow along with me. So New Duds is the name of the chapter, and in the assessment, New Duds is what is used to refer to the excerpt that the assessment is based on. First of all, what does that word duds mean? In case you weren't sure, it's sort of a slang for clothes, new clothes. Possum comes back from that interesting tree. He stands beside me as we watch my father walking away. Pop does not look back. When you've said goodbye, after the first step, you're already gone. Looking back just confuses things. You okay, Jaybird? No, I say. No point in not being honest with him. That's all right, Possum says. None of us are ever okay when we end up here. But you know what the best part is from here on in? It just gets worse. Possum slaps me on the back. You got it, he chuckles. Now let's get you some new duds. The campus of the Indian school is so vast. It's as if the place was built to instill a sense of awe in those sent here, make them feel small and powerless. That's what it's done to me. Huge as the school grounds are, though, everything is, as Mom used to say, neat as a pin. Not even a single fallen leaf anywhere on the ground. Cleaner than your ma's kitchen counter, ain't it? Possum asks. He's noticed me gaping at everything, like some country hick seeing an elephant for the first time. Yup, I admit. Easy enough when you got over 800 slaves to do your bidding. A humorless chuckle follows his words. On grounds duty, you dang well make sure every blade of grass is cut the same height, or there's hell to pay. We walk past Building 2. Possum jerks his chin toward the 2 buildings, far to our right. Girls' dorms over there, Possum says. Don't get caught too close. That's a hanging offense. We turn left. Ahead of us, down the gravel road, are the smaller buildings where the superintendent told us carpentry and harness making and the like are taught. There are other boys around. We've passed quite a few as we've been walking. Some alone, some in groups, some our age, some younger, and some older. Though none have actually come up to us, all have raised a hand or spoken a word or two in greeting to my guide. Possum's answered each of them with that grin of his, a wave, an easy reply. How's it going? Okay. Hey, Possum. Hey, Deacon. Me? I've said nothing, and none of the boys have asked, Who's that with you? It's almost been as if I'm invisible. That's strange. In my past experience, everyone's curious about a new kid. Some want to meet you, others want to make friends. A few want to feel you out to see if they can bully you. But not here. Maybe they think I'm not worth knowing. Whatever the reason, I'm sort of grateful for it. I don't want to meet anyone. I don't want to be friendly. All I really want is to not be here. Possum's been easy to be with, but is he really my friend? Am I fooling myself? Maybe he's just putting up with me. This school is his place, not mine. Tomorrow, when the routine here kicks back in, he's not going to have time for me. I'll be on my own. He'll be back with his gang. I'll be on my own, without Pop to guide me and be by my side every day and every night. I'll be alone in a crowd of kids who have nothing in common with me. As we walk along, I notice something. Set back a ways behind those buildings is an ugly, low, flat-roofed stone structure that looks out of place. While the other buildings have had at least a few people around them, this one is totally deserted. It's not just dark in color, it has an air of darkness around it, as if bad things happened here, were meant to happen there. I squint my eyes and study it further as we walk. I've always had eyesight that is keen, like a red-tailed hawk, Pop says. So even at this distance, I can see that the heavy door at its front is padlocked, and the place looks abandoned. Set up high on the one side wall that's visible is a window with iron bars. Possum stops again, once more knowing where I'm looking. Draws your eyes, don't it? It does. We don't go there anymore. No one does. No one goes anywhere near there. That's the old guardhouse. One of the good things old Morrell did was close it down soon as they promoted him to superintendent. Now they don't lock you up in there when you break one of their 100,000 rules. Something is happening to me as I'm looking at the old guardhouse. It's as if a part of me is leaving my body, passing through that padlocked door. And now, somehow, that's where I am. I'm trapped in here. There's the strong smells of mildew and urine. On one shadowy wall is a plank bed and a wadded-up blanket. I make out in the faint light that the floor beneath my feet is packed dirt. I look up at the barred window. No sunlight is shining through. It's the ghostly beam of light from the full moon that is enabling me to see what's around me. So it sounds like Cal is having one of his visions again, and he's imagining himself inside of the guardhouse. But it's nighttime in his vision. Jaybird, where you at? I shake my head to clear it. Possum's staring at me. I don't know how long I've been in that vision, so I do what I always do whenever I get taken over. I do not let on that anything unusual has happened to me. Then Possum surprises me. Does that happen often? He asks. What? I say, maybe a little too quick. Seeing, he says. His tone is matter-of-fact. Had me an aunt who was Heles Hayu, a medicine person. She used to do that. She'd have that same look on her face when she was seeing something. Hesse, maybe something in the past, maybe even seeing something in the future. Oh, I say. I'm standing still, my mind going a mile a minute because of what Possum just said in such a matter-of-fact way. There's others like me? And there's even a name in Indian for seeing past events through other people's eyes, like I do sometimes? And what was that he said about seeing things in the future? Want to talk about it? Possum asks. I shake my head. I'm not sure if it makes me feel better or worse that others can have the same kind of experiences I've been having. I haven't even talked about my seeing things with anyone, even Pop. And I'm sure as Blaze is not ready to start blabbing about it now. Okay, Possum says. Then he points again with his chin at the old guardhouse. Anyhow, like I said, they don't use that no more. They use the lockup on the porch now, right? Possum nods. You don't miss much, do you, Jaybird? Good thing about being there, up on the porch, is everyone knows you are there. No one can do anything to you without someone else knowing. They may have you on moldy bread and stale water, but there's no way they can beat you bloody in secret. Morel does not stand for that kind of beating." "That kind?" I ask. "Well," Possum grins, "some of us boys get real stubborn. So they got to do something now and then to put the fear of the Lord in us, right? You do not want to see our dorm matron when she has got a switch in her hand." A switch, that's like a whip. "She is a true believer in that part of the Bible that says, 'Spare the rod and spoil the child.'" I have never been hit, even once in my life, by Pop. Mom was just the same. Firm in what she expected, but gentle with her hands. I keep walking, my eyes on the ground, which is also where my heart is right about now. "Your pa ever hit you?" Possum asks. "No. Mine neither." His left hand touches the scar on his cheek. "I never got this from him." "Who?" I ask. Possum shakes his head. "Far as anyone save me and one other knows. I got this 2 years ago, here when I was alone in the barn, and fell on the sharp edge of something. The one who did it was sorry once he saw how deep I was cut by his ring." I'm going to stop and explain for a second. So he's saying, as far as anyone knows except for me and one other person, everybody thinks that the scar on Possum's cheek, he got it from falling in a barn one day when he was alone. But then he says this, "The one who did it was sorry once he saw how deep I was cut by his ring." So somebody hit him, but he's keeping it a secret. He thinks the person was sorry. He just meant to slap me 'cause I'd sassed him. Got me right to the infirmary. But that wouldn't make no never mind to my pa. If my pa ever found out it was no accident, there would truly be hell to pay. He'd come here with his gun and end up hanging for manslaughter. So you forget I ever said anything. Promise?" So it sounds like the real reason that Possum is keeping it a secret, that somebody actually hit him to cause his scar, is because he knows his pa would come and kill or try to kill that person, and then his pa would end up punished and in jail or hanging. So he's really doing it to protect his own pa. "So you forget I ever said anything. Promise?" "Promise," I agree. Then, seeing how serious the look is on Possum's face, I add, "My word as a knight of the road." Possum shakes his head. "No point dwelling on the past. Can't get back water once it's under the bridge, right?" He doesn't wait for me to nod my head. That familiar grin has returned to his face like the sun coming out from behind a bank of clouds.